Nellie Bly, born Elizabeth Cochrane in 1864, was a woman who defied the expectations of her time and became one of the most famous journalists in American history. Her work not only exposed social injustices but also redefined what was possible for women in journalism. Nellie Bly's journey to becoming a groundbreaking journalist began in an unlikely place. A small town in Pennsylvania. Born into a large family, Elizabeth Cochrane showed early signs of defiance against the restrictive norms for women. After her father's death, her family faced financial difficulties, which fueled her determination to succeed. Bly's entry into journalism came when she wrote a fiery response to a sexist newspaper column titled, "What Girls Are Good For." Her passionate letter impressed the editor, who offered her a job at the Pittsburgh Dispatch under the pen name Nellie Bly. Nellie Bly quickly became known for her fearless approach to reporting, tackling issues that were often ignored or dismissed by mainstream media. One of Bly's first major assignments involved going undercover to expose the harsh working conditions of women in factories. Her articles brought attention to the exploitation and dangers faced by female workers, leading to public outcry and reforms. In 1887, Bly took on what would become her most famous investigation, going undercover as a patient in the women's lunatic asylum on Blackwell's Island. She feigned insanity to gain admission and spent 10 days inside, documenting the horrific conditions and abuse that patients endured. Her exposé, titled 10 Days in a Madhouse, shocked the nation and led to significant improvements in the treatment of the mentally ill, as well as increased funding for asylums. Nellie Bly wasn't content with just breaking barriers in investigative journalism, she also set out to prove that a woman could achieve what no one thought possible. Inspired by Jules Verne's novel Around the World in 80 Days, Bly proposed to her editors at the New York World that she could beat the fictional record. On November 14, 1889, she set off alone, traveling by steamship, train, and rickshaw. Bly traveled through England, Egypt, France, British territories, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan, among other places, documenting her experiences along the way. She faced numerous challenges, including rough seas, tight schedules, and cultural differences, but her determination never wavered. On January 25, 1890, Nellie Bly returned to New York, having completed her journey in just 72 days, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. Her achievement was celebrated worldwide, and she became an international sensation. Nellie Bly's career continued to evolve, but her impact on journalism and women's rights remained profound. Throughout her life, Bly remained a staunch advocate for women's rights, using her platform to speak out on issues like suffrage, labor reform, and social justice. She paved the way for future generations of women in journalism. In later years, Bly became an industrialist and inventor, holding several patents, including one for a novel milk can design. She also covered World War I from the front lines, continuing her fearless reporting until her death in 1922. Nellie Bly's legacy endures as a symbol of courage, resilience, and the power of the press to effect change. She is celebrated as a trailblazer who refused to accept the limitations placed on women in her time. Her work is studied in journalism schools around the world, and her story continues to inspire aspiring journalists, especially women, to pursue truth and justice through their work.